Hello, televiewers. Good evening and welcome to this other edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We this day are going to be looking at the elimination of the Indomitable Lions, Intermediate Lions yesterday by their Moroccan counterparts at the Omnisport Stadium in Limbe. Many Cameroonians were disillusioned, actually did not sleep well after the trouncing of the Intermediate Lions by the Intermediate Atlas Lions of Moroco. We also are going to be looking at the presentation of the human rights situation for Cameroon for the year 2020, including the first 2 weeks of January 2021, as presented yesterday to the press by Stand Up for Cameroon. We are going to be discussing this with panelists. Two of them are already there. We hope others are going to be joining us in the course of the program. Dr. Michael Ndimancho is here with us. We're glad to have you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Luke. It's a pleasure to be here once more. Good evening to all the televiewers.
And are you okay? You are fully recovered from the defeat of yesterday?
Well, for those who followed me on my own page, I just said in football we expect everything to happen. And yesterday particularly I wrote that people should take tranquilizers, because I knew exactly at the end of it all, since we wanted a total defeat, we wanted victory at all costs. Perhaps the gods were not going to play on our part, and it is a game of football, and we know that anything happens. And in as much as a Cameroonian, I have loved Cameroon to sail through, but we also expect to know that other countries too prepared, and they came very, very prepared to take the trophy. No country came to Cameroon to play to the gallery or for a child's play or just to eat and drink. They actually came, and their own countries, individual countries, were watching on them and were expecting them to bring back the trophy. And therefore, if Cameroon came and played their ping pong, and they brought in witches and wizards to be able to watch over them without preparing, I think that is a cup of tea. And of course, to me, it was just a normal train of events that happened, and it didn't have to bother me so much, because I watched the match objectively, and I wanted the best team to win, and of course, the best team won.
Okay, Amos, Ngui says, who told you I slept very well, bro. Amos, good evening to you and to you. Godi Ngui Kongi, who says, hello. Prime TV, watching from Calabar. It's Hillary, good evening to you, and yes, and to all of you. Also with us is Tamai Travis, good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Kum. Good evening to those who are watching us. Good evening to the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, #1 sportman. Good evening to Maurice Kamto, Nijon Fundi, Prince Ekoso, and good evening to Senior Barrister Ashu, and of course, good evening to all the businessmen and women in the North and Southwest region who are struggling to keep the hope burning as far as doing businesses within the region is concerned. And a special good evening to Samuel Tofis and all the former Lions, and why not those who supported the Lions yesterday. A special good evening to all those of us who cried after the match ended, and we thought we went there, we will win, but as it is football, you can never have it all. So we are confident that subsequently next time or next edition we will go far. We've learned our lessons, and we hope to see a better game ahead as far as the third play is concerned.
Were you also very disappointed after?
I was very disappointed. If I tell you I wasn't disappointed, it's a lie. I was, before the match, I was like, allez les Lions, and especially when I saw the outing of the governor of the Southwest region, I saw the outing of the chiefs of Fako division, the chiefs who said they have done their best and the gods have promised them that Cameroon will win, and the governor who said the Lions are coming to take their victory because Limbe is their shrine. I was kind of like, it means something spiritual is going to happen. And looking at the enthusiasm of the team, someone like Kmer, the full-back Kmer, and of course someone like Banga, I thought that, okay, with Ashu at the goalpost and Kmer and Banga, the defense is kind of going to be a bit solid. And I was expecting that we will take advantage of what the fans in Limbe. But unfortunately, the first goal came second and third foot. I was kind of embarrassed too with the kind of situation I saw with one of the players, Yannick Jank, who was suspended today, because when he was substituted yesterday during the match, he was not happy. I think he went into confrontation with the assistant coach, which ended up making him to be dismissed from the team as far as the competition is concerned. So it's a kind of not being satisfied. I was expecting Cameroon to win, in as much as we are in a conflict. Yes, but it's football. We keep aside politics and we look at the football part of it, because whether we like it or not, Cameroon will remain Cameroon, and we shall all die. Cameroon will remain Cameroon.
Okay. Were you surprised to see us at the semi-finals? When you look at the preparation, you have the impression that it contributed to our ousting? Did you expect to see us removed at the level of the quarterfinals?
In fact, I was very, very surprised, given that, just to let most televiewers know exactly what the CHAN is all about. I mean, the CHAN is a football for home-based players. And if we were to look at that in that perspective, and we see how slowly and sluggishly Cameroon prepared for this CHAN, given that even our home-based competitions, they didn't take up so well. There were a lot of issues about that.
Yeah, but it's not yet started.
Yeah, of course, it has not even started. So, I mean, most people are asking themselves, where did the preparation take place? And to some of us, going through the first group stage was like, I mean, passing through the eye of a Kmer, passing through the eye of a needle. But we succeeded, and we went through. And of course, we thought, okay, we've gone through this stage. It is Cameroon is a country of football. Maybe it is an inborn talent that we have in Cameroon. It was going to be like that to the end. But then it was like the gods were preparing us for the greatest shock that we should have at this stage. I know the Epamoto, you know, the Epasamoto, of course. Yes, the chiefs came out with their outing, but I know those who understand the language of the gods knew exactly that the chiefs were coerced to do what they did, because they weren't supposed to do that. And they forcefully did that, and the gods spoke to the chiefs and spoke to them the truth. But the chiefs had to please the government to tell them that this is what they received from there. So let us not misinterpret it being that the chiefs said something else and something else happened. The chiefs actually, they had the right message to pass to Cameroonians. And because they wanted to please Cameroonians, they gave that wrong message that they gave, that Cameroon was going to win. And of course, given the circumstances that led to, I mean, during this competition, you know, we had relied so much on witch doctors and whatsoever. You know, even on the very first match that Cameroon played, with Zimbabwe, we had already symptoms and signs of witch hunting and whatsoever when a bat was found at the center of the field. And there things started happening. And we have even been told that even the match that they played in Limbe, players slept at 3 o'clock because witch doctors were actually spending an all night with them and trying to let them know, to predict for them, and trying to do the last set of cleansing and washing. And I mean, so a lot of things, a lot of polemics about this game. It means that actually we didn't want to use our own talents. We depended on the talents of, I mean, things that we no physical eye can explain. We depended on metaphysics, and that was something really, really terrible for us. And this actually has taught us a lesson. It has taught us a lesson that, of course, we need to depend, even if you have to go extra mile, because we know in a game of football, many people, get into those kind of things to be able to gather more powers. First of all, our own talent is important. You will not expect players to sleep at 3 o'clock and then they have to play football the next day. So it is a terrible thing. And two, for the fact that we all wanted Cameroon to win at all costs. For whatever reason, I do not know. Well, it's for the passion of it and for the glory of the country. The way every other minister wanted Cameroon to win. You found the Minister of Territorial Administration who infiltrated the Lion. You found the Minister of House Planning and the Town Planning and Housing who infiltrated the Lion. I mean, just anybody came to the Lion to be to say whatever he wanted to say, and it was not their place. To me, this was all distraction. It was all distraction. This wasn't necessary. Sometimes these people could come when victory must have come. But the fact that everybody wanted to take the glory to mean that, I mean, I came and spoke to the lion, I came and actually advised the lion, I came and gave them hope, I came and actually spurred their spirits to be able to play. I mean, this actually was a kind of confusion that they brought to the lion's den, and I'm sure that at that particular moment, sometimes the lions too can be very, very tired in the jungle when he has to do a lot of consultation with the other animals. So I think it is a lesson that we are learning, and we think that in 2 years' time, this lesson actually is going to yield some fruit. Let us learn our lesson and be able to infiltrate. We even have an issue whereby we hear there's a witch doctor who actually forced a player to play when he was not supposed to. So some of these things, they have repercussions. Some of these things, they have their, sometimes a boomerang, you know. And people, we don't have to neglect some of these things. We should learn our lesson and know that in the next 2 years, we'll get there.
Yes, we were the hosts of we are the hosts of the Shan competition, and so much talk about witch doctors. Did we underlook the fact that we have the supporters that were supposed to support us, rather than making use of our home advantage, and the supporters, we relied rather on witch doctors?
The truth of the matter here is that we were very confused as far as spirituality is concerned, and we downplayed the talent, and we thought that God was just a symbol of public relation campaign to go to church and to just say God saying a public relation campaign, and there's somebody at somewhere in one forest who can actually handle, or who can actually solve problems as far as the competition is concerned. I want to say that there was a problem as far as that is concerned, because we like the last match which we played, we saw that they actually had a mass that was offered to them. And how can you have a mass that is offered to you and at the same time you have witch doctors? The player was supposed to play with their talent, but they did not play with their talent. Some of them, just the fact that someone assures you of something, that hey, you don't need to do much, I will do you this and you win the match, it kills your motivation, it kills your spirit. But they forgot the fact that the Bible says that hope or faith without work is dead. So you must come with the work and you come with the faith. But at this point in time, I see that you come with a team that believes more in witch doctors than the talent of the players, and you expect the players to play and win. It cannot go, and especially when the other team definitely have nothing as far as witch doctor is concerned. It is very normal in physics that to every action there must be, to every reaction there's an equal but opposite reaction. To every action there's equal and opposite reaction. And superstition or witchcraft goes with witchcraft. If you go with witchcraft with somebody who doesn't have anything to do as far as witchcraft is concerned, that will not work, because there will not be a bouncing effect. At this point in time, Mr. Yo, I will tell you honestly and truthfully that we neglected the aspect of talent in these players. We abandoned their talent, and we were more concerned with the spiritual aspect of the forest, not looking at the spiritual aspect of God. Because right up to yesterday, they had the visit of men of God, they had the visit of witch doctors. So it was a clash of power, where someone tells you that, hey, take this and eat, and someone is praying, and you are seeing the forces are fighting each other, and we are used to this. So my plea is that in Cameroon, especially at football, we should always learn to look at the divine authority, not confusing things. If you are going for witch doctor, go for witch doctor. If you are going for God, go for God. Don't mix the two, because these two forces will fight. And above all, Mr. Kum, before you take the mic, you see, as far as witchcraft is concerned, or metaphysics is concerned, for you to have a reaction, for an action to take place, I must have another power that fights another power. A single power cannot fight itself. It takes two people to fight. So if you come with your witchcraft, I have nothing to offer with witchcraft, I have my genuine talent and genuine skills, I beat you off. So I want to say that the team, or the Lions, they have learned from their mistake, and you tell a player that, hey, you need to sit on the bench and you need to hold on so that these players will play, because the witch doctor has said that this person to play. How do you expect the game to go? If they wanted to use witch doctors, Mr. Kum, I would prefer that they should have just asked the players not to play, come and take Lycée Bileng, the Dido students, and just say, okay, these are the players, witch doctors, do your best. But you must come with talent. The Bible says faith without work is dead.
Okay. Feed without work is that, do you think that the marabouts also might have played a role, but above all, the administrative bench of Fcfa and also the squabble with the ministry might have caused the results, the elimination of the Lions at this stage?
Yeah, I think this is very, very possible, given the kind of polemics that goes with feeding in players in the national, in the team. We have had a lot of reports whereby you have people have to pay money to be able to be feeded. And there's a lot of infighting in between them. You have the Ministry of Sports and you have Fcfa that do not look eyeball to eyeball. I mean, these are two organs that they are supposed to cooperate for the good of the football in Cameroon. But you realize that they play as if they are so much independent. They are even they have the football, the professional football league that is headed by Jonas Seminge. So they are supposed to, coordinate their powers to be able to come together and work as a team, even though in different departments. But you realize that people work as if they are for like an island, as if they are supposed to work independently. So we think that a lot of some of these things they act. And two, I will also talk about the issue of the match between Cameroon and the DRC Congo. There were a lot of issues that also came in about the testing of the players of the DR Congo. Sometimes the gods play in these things, If it was actually true that Cameroon forged the results, the COVID results of the DRC Congo players, then we should expect this kind of thing, because you cannot do some of these things and go free. There are some of these things that, actually have their effect, the payback in a very, very short while, very, very ephemerally. So we think that the administration, the football administration in Cameroon, they are supposed to do more. We expect them to do more. We expect them to actually love the football. We have had testimony of people who think that, who have the talents, but they have to pay a lot of money to get into the football, either the team A or team whatsoever. So we need to be honest to ourselves. If we are called to serve Cameroon, especially in the football federation or in the ministry or in the professional football, we actually need to give in ourselves and put Cameroon first. We don't have to put our individual interests first. But what we realize that most football administrators in Cameroon, they put their individual self first. And therefore, that is why they ask a lot of money, even to those who they think that they are talented, they ask a lot of money to be able to get them in. And and coupled with the fact that there's what I call three spirits that are working in the Cameroon football system. The three spirits are the spirit of the footballer. You have the spirit of the witch hunting and whatsoever, and then you have the spirit of God. So you see, like Javi said, if you put these three together, they are always going to confront themselves. It is better to rely on your own spirit, and I usually see most of these players, they pray before they even start the match. How can you start the match by praying, and then you are invoking the evil spirit, and you're invoking the witch doctor, you're invoking the kind of spirit to be able. And this is a kind of a contradictory thing that we actually need to. I do not know whether the football that we watch in Europe, like the UEFA and all those clubs that we're watching, I don't know whether that's what they do, whether they bring their own witch doctors but I think that the way that we do it in Africa, it's not only in Cameroon. I think it's Africa as a whole. I think that we need to develop a different mindset about what this is all about. If football is a talent, let us use our talents. Let us use, it is gone past. In the past, we used to go to the stadium to watch football and watch spectacle. I want to talk about this word, spectacle, football. That is, people use their talent, you dribble and people clap for you. But today, it's no more the case. People go into the football now, to make personal gain. Money has come ahead of all of that. And talking about spectacle now is something of illusion. So I think that actually people need to set priorities as far as they are defending a country. We usually say the Cameroon team is they have a fighting spirit and that they are the lions. I mean, when you say somebody is a lion, I mean, you should be able to, a lion, that image of a lion that we have in the jungle is that animal that imposes on other animals. But if you are that kind of a lion...
No, but they were also faced with the Atlas lions, eh?
No, they were, but we are looking at the loopholes that caused them to go to the drain, or that made them to have this kind of result that they are having. I mean, we have had lions that have lost matches, and we clap for them, and we say, these boys, they played. But when you have this kind of loopholes that you have depending on this and depending on that and I mean, when the mistakes are so many, you begin to ask questions and ask yourself, really, whether these are...
Monsieur Jean-Claude Youkfils, yes, representing the CPDM party on this platform today. Vous avez suivi le match, hein, c'est sûr. Dessus, qu'est-ce qui peut expliquer ce qu'on a vécu hier à Limbe?
Dessus, je pense pas, mais j'aurais souhaité la victoire. Non, je peux pas être dessus parce que, en réalité, moi, je salue d'abord le parcours de ces jeunes.
Okay.
Je salue l'engagement de tous ces jeunes qui, certains ont bravé beaucoup d'épreuves pour pouvoir se retrouver là, et ils nous ont fait rêver. Ils nous ont poussé à croire en eux, et aussi moi je salue aussi l'élan patriotique qui nous ont amenés à pouvoir avoir ensemble. Tous ces éléments là concourent à ce que je ne peux que les remercier et leur dire qu'ils ont encore un match devant eux. La compétition n'est pas encore terminée, elle se termine dimanche le 7 février. Mais eux, ils ont encore un match de classement qu'on appelle la petite finale. Pour ceux qui savent d'où nous venons, donc nous disons que il était important de pouvoir aussi avoir ce parcours. Lorsque mon copanéliste dit que la prière et tout n'est pas véritablement ce qu'il faut, ou bien qu'il faut d'abord tout simplement avoir le talent. Je dis que oui, il faut avoir le talent, mais le football n'est pas seulement le talent, le football c'est le mental.
C'est le marabout?
Je ne sais pas. Vous savez très bien que tout le monde est libre de pouvoir avoir sa foi, sa croyance. Certains s'agenouillent avant, certains prient, certains... le tout c'est quoi? À la fin, ça revient toujours sur ce que nous avons dit tout à l'heure, que c'est le mental. Donc, si vous n'avez pas un mental, c'est-à-dire un moral fort, où vous avez de la conviction, où vous avez même d'abord foi en votre potentiel, en votre talent, vous ne pouvez pas le développer. On a vu des grands joueurs, mais à chaque fois où ils sont face à des rendez-vous importants, ils n'arrivaient pas à développer leur talent, mais ça n'enlevait en rien du tout le fait qu'ils étaient des joueurs très talentueux. Donc, c'est pour vous dire que pour nous ici, cette CAN, ce CHAN qui est en train de se dérouler, qui tire déjà vers sa fin, les défis nombreux ont été relevés et nous continuons à saluer même l'élan patriotique qui s'est développé. La malheureuse deuxième place que les Lions Indomptables ont eu à avoir au premier tour nous a permis de jouer dans 3 villes. Et parmi les 3 villes, nous avons joué à la capitale politique, nous avons joué à la capitale économique et nous avons joué à la grande ville du sud-ouest qui est Limbe. Donc, par un concours de circonstances, pratiquement tous les Camerounais se sont réunis autour de leur équipe. J'ai vu la ferveur patriotique hier à Limbe, et où j'étais en train de dire, ah ben il faudrait que ceux qui sont les ennemis de la République sachent que ce n'est pas ce que les Camerounais veulent, c'est pas ce que les Camerounais souhaitent, et que ceux qui sont à même de pouvoir apporter des solutions, de les écouter, doivent savoir que voici plutôt des gens qui sont en train de dire que nous sommes ensemble, nous serons toujours ensemble.
Mais
voilà.
on a beaucoup parlé des marabouts autour de l'équipe. Est-ce qu'il fallait tout cela?
L'heure n'est pas encore à ce niveau-là parce que nos Lions ont encore un match samedi prochain.
Oui.
Donc,
mais il faut déjà parler de ça, non? Parce que si ça continue, c'est que samedi, peut-être ça ne va pas bien marcher, non?
Moi, j'ai confiance en ces professionnels qui encadrent l'équipe, qui ont sûrement tiré des leçons très rapidement en 24 heures, de savoir ce qui a fonctionné, ce qui n'a pas bien marché, et afin qu'ils le puissent corriger et qu'on finisse la compétition de la plus belle manière, que le trophée de la 3e place puisse nous revenir, et que nous tirons cette conclusion et que la fête se termine en beauté en disant que le Cameroun est sorti 3e. Tout au moins, on aurait souhaité que le trophée nous revienne, mais on est des fair play. C'est la loi du football. Les 5 trophées continentaux que les Lions indomptables de la sélection A ont déjà remportés, les ont remportés dans d'autres pays. Donc, nous aussi, nous sommes à l'épreuve de l'organisation des compétitions et que d'autres aussi peuvent venir gagner chez nous. Donc à la fin du match, de l'après-match de classement du samedi prochain, il serait temps, je pense que les uns les autres se regarderont dans un miroir et nous tirerons toutes les conclusions. L'heure est à la motivation. L'heure est au rassemblement. L'heure est à galvaniser tous les joueurs.
Est-ce que vous ne trouvez pas, let me take this one. Hello, Mr. Liu. This is Kadiri from Greek Cyprus. These players are not to be blamed for their failure, just their talent and the advice given to them by Samuel Etofis and the coach. Was okay. Ministers coming plus incantations from chiefs, gods in the day and juju in the night is the worst thing that has happened to the Lions. You think so? Because other teams were there with their technical team simply, but the Cameroonian situation, instead of allowing them with strictly those involved with sports, we had many persons around the team.
Mr. Yo, you know that especially when you are preparing for a game, there's what called the physical and the spiritual. And when you are in camping or when you are doing camping, you are not doing camping because you just like to isolate the team. You are doing camping because you want to remove negative energy from outside to come in contact with the players at the camp. That's why during camping you will hear they will tell you that a player is not supposed to leave the camp. And any player that leaves the camp, that player automatically is left out of the squad because you cannot go and bring negative energy outside. But when we see the Lions, as you are saying, the Lions never closed their camp. The Lions had their camp in such a way that it was free. It was like a supermarket for ministers to come and do tourism. It was a supermarket for campaigns, like a campaign for political rally where people just go there and to show their family that, hey, I am a minister, I have access to the Lions, I am a delegate, I have access to the Lions, I am a DJ, I have access to the Lions. And all of these persons, you don't know where they are coming from. They are coming with their own energy, they are coming with their own spirit. We even watched one of the images where a female minister was blessing the players, the players will come with their head. I don't know whether the minister is a woman of God ordained to be blessing the players. Sometimes some of those things work, Mr. Leo, in terms of football. So when you are going for football, you need concentration. Yes, the spirit and the physical work hand in glove. That's why the team must come with one spirit during the camping period. But when you see someone who come and tell you that if you score 1 goal, I'll give you 1 million. If you do this, I'll give you this. Every player in that team, especially as an amateur player, these are amateur players, they are looking for that 1 million. They're looking for that, just that fame. At one point in time, they will stop constructive football. They will stop looking at giving assist passes to one another. They will now look at, hey, it's my turn to score. It's my turn to do this. It's my turn to do that. So to me, Mr. Kum, the constant visit that we had at the Lions Den is one of the reason why the Lions did not qualify. Why on earth do you see ministers going to visit players on a random basis, even if you are showing patriotism? That patriotism can be done after, as Dr. Dimancho said, after the competition. Let's say they qualify for finals and they win the trophy. You can go and visit the Lions after the qualification. But when you see ministers blessing players, talking, you don't know what they were talking, you don't don't know which God they were praying to, and the players will have their own spirituality. Yes, we are in a country which give freedom of speech and freedom of association according to the 1990 law, which was enacted, that you have a freedom to religion, that you can pray to any other God. But how do you explain the fact that each minister comes and blesses you people? You don't know where they are coming from. You don't know their spiritual background. As players, you must come, as during campings, and this will happen. You see the players lock themselves up for 1 week. Only players and their team, they need
maximum concentration.
Yes, they need maximum concentration. And only the players and their technical team, no external force, because whoever is coming, you don't know the energy they carry. You don't know where they have been to. You don't know who is following them. You don't know. So all those concentration, that's why I see when players leave, they just go straight. That's why I saw the other teams, Moroco, Congo, and all the other teams, they had just their technical team and themselves in their hotel, and they camp themselves. And when they are going out, they don't even go out to visit supporters frequently as we have with the Lions. The Lions were at the sea, the Lions were with the Chiefs, the Lions were with the ministers, the Lions were with supporters, the Lions were everywhere doing more of public relation campaign for the match than the actual match. That's why they say when you are going for a competition like this, you carry the image of the nation. All Cameroonians, we were looking at the match, we were expecting that to have at least a victory from the Lions, but we were disappointed. And to me, this is our opportunity. I know it's hilarious. I said something yesterday that I think this is an opportunity for the head of state to create a commission of inquiry to ask why the Lions failed. Because a constant visit, Fcfa is not doing their job. How do you expect that a player, Samuel Eto'o will just move to the Lions den, Jeremy Njita will move to the Lions den, this player will move to the Lions den, anyhow? And those are moments of distraction. Because if you are a player, you have to visit the Lion. You must pass through protocol. These protocols are not respected. The Minister of Sport is not respected. There's a total cacophony in terms of how the Lions are visited. Especially, it was more of a charade, more of a campaign. I see more of a campaign like maybe they thought they were going for a presidential campaign to show that, hey, I'm with the Lions and maybe we are going to win this election. But we have gone past this level. Sport should not be politicized. Sport should be used as a unifying factor, not as a political weapon to show that, hey, I am a member of this party, I have this, I have that. We rarely see this in other nations. When Nigeria hosted the 2000 Nation Cup, where the Nation Cup that Cameroon won in Surulere, you could not see Nigerian ministers, Nigerian senators, Nigerian governors at the Super Eagles then. They will not go because there was that strict control. In Cameroon, if you enact that control, the next issue is that the coach is fired, the team manager is fired, you start hearing about insubordination, but which is not the case. When we had the Gabon encounter, how many ministers went to Gabon to go and be visiting the Lions? Okay.
Now, but whatever the case, we should not also undermine the strength of the Moroccan team. They are a very powerful team, current cup holders, and going by their past records, we saw them beat teams 5-0, 4-0. So we shouldn't also take that out of the fact that the Lions were defeated, because they met a very solid Moroccan team.
Yes, it is a very solid Moroccan team. One cannot dispute the fact. But we are on a point whereby Cameroon is playing at home, and we are much more disappointed because sometimes we talk about the home advantage. Yes, I earlier said that this is a game of football. And in the game of football, anything can happen. Strong teams have been defeated in the world. Brazil has been defeated. Germany has been defeated. But there are some defeats that are hard not to chew, like that which Cameroon had. Because you saw a Cameroon team that was like wailing out. It's a team that had never prepared before. Even Moroccan team was as strong as what. Us conceding 4 goals to nothing. I'm sure this is the most disgraceful defeat that we have had during this CHAN. And we shouldn't expect that from Cameroon, the host country. A country that is supposed, have raised a lot of pomp and fanfare in receiving this cup, this CHAN, this competition in Cameroon. That is where we are having a problem. And a country that is being defeated because of some of the loopholes that even one who is not a football analyst can be able to point out and say, this is where you went wrong. Sometimes some of these defeats come at points where somebody cannot really decipher and say exactly where the problem comes from, and it's only the coach
that can be able to say exactly where the problem is, because the coach is a technician. But when you have people who get defeated like Cameroon had yesterday, and each and any person in the low quarter of the country can be able to say that they defeated because of this, and because of the various reports that were given, because of the loopholes and the trouble that the teams went through, or the kind of controversies that we recorded during the competition, then you begin to say that even though Moroco was a strong team, we too had our own issues that if we regulated, if we took care of, we wouldn't have had this kind of a disgraceful kind of a defeat. At least 1-2-0 will have been something to chew, but not 4-0. And that is why we keep on saying that Cameroon, actually, the team of Cameroon went for this match yesterday, they went unprepared. They went counting on something else. They were not counting on their own personal ability. But Moroco came counting on their abilities. And we are very, very sure of that, because we saw the kind of a beautiful football that those guys, the Moroccans, they played. And then we saw Cameroons who they were falling down like mushrooms. We saw a Cameroonian team that were as if they had not slept. We saw a Cameroon team that was not like, it was not coordinated. We saw a Cameroon team that were like, they were playing individually. We saw a Cameroon team that were like, people were unruly, they just a kind of a character that we even saw from the player. The issue of Yannick Njen, we cannot underlook it. This is a product of the Cameroonian players. We saw that because it was Mondo Vision. There are many other issues of that nature that maybe happened in the dressing room that we didn't see. And that which happened yesterday, all of us saw, is just a microcosm, of what happens within the Lions Den. And we are condemning that, because this was not supposed to happen. We didn't expect that. We should have a team that is humble. Players that are humble, players that we see that after they have tried our best, we see that fighting spirit in the players, and when they win them, we are with them and we say, yes, boys, you did your best. And two, we've also had a president that could only give a congratulatory message to the team when I'm happy that the CPDM representative here is on the set. We have a president that will only send a congratulatory message to the team when they won the quarterfinals. We didn't see him at the beginning, even though he has long invited the CAP president and all the other people to show that he's a number one sportsman. I think that being a sportsman is seen on the field too. So we were expecting to see actually this kind of alacrity expressed during the opening of the match. But we didn't see the president there. We didn't see the president during the start of the match or during the match. We only heard him when he congratulated the players when they won the quarterfinals. And I'm sure that actually the players too were asking themselves that, and that is why all the other persons who came in, the ministers came in to be able to shoot their own ugly heads and to be able to say that they are the one who are encouraging the youth. Of course, it's an issue of Cameroon. When the minister goes and you say, yes, I'm representing the president of the republic, that is true. But we always need to see our head of state. So I think, in as much as the Moroccan team was a strong team, and it's a current champion, the Cameroon team too needed to prove to us that this is a team that we all of us are behind. We need to see them do better.
Okay, Gerard from Dubai says, good evening to you, Mr. Liu, and your panelists in the studio. Concerning the match of yesterday, I've been on social media since yesterday till now. I have not seen any positive reaction concerning the match despite the loss. But many people saw this loss in different angles, such as Cameroon believing in rituals to win a match, not believing in God. Some say Cameroon could not win in Limbe because the blood of innocents are crying. In all, Cameroon needs to see what is happening to make things right. Can to be hosted will be the same. Let government officials give the coach his full right to do his job. Thanks. Okay. Gerard, writing from Dubai. Good evening, Monsieur Jean Claude. Oui. Vous avez compris ce qu'il dit?
Oui, oui.
Est-ce que vous êtes aussi surpris que beaucoup de Camerounais sont en train de vouloir politiser la défaite des Lions, et aussi que beaucoup de Camerounais sont plutôt contents qu'il faut que le gouvernement arrange d'abord certaines choses? Est-ce que ça se comprend?
C'est incompréhensible lorsqu'on est en train de vouloir parler ici de l'élan patriotique. et que la défaite des Lions indomptables a ou après, ou bien, quelle qu'en soit la formation des Lions indomptables, c'est une défaite de tous les Camerounais. C'est une défaite de notre nation. Ici, c'est notre nation qui était face aux autres nations. Donc, si certains veulent en faire de la récupération, ou bien nous disent que lorsque, par exemple, l'image de marque ou bien le drapeau, les couleurs de notre pays ne sont pas aussi valorisées et que cela les enchante, c'est dommage et dommageable. Je vais rassurer Monsieur Dimancho que en fait le président de la République a toujours eu, en sa qualité du premier sportif, à encourager nos formations, nos équipes sportives, et il n'a de cesse su le démontrer. Et vous avez vu qu'à chaque après match, le ministre des Sports et de l'Éducation physique allait auprès de nos lions, les encourager, porter le message d'encouragement du président de la République, son excellence. Et vous avez remarqué que la prise spéciale, dotation spéciale donnée par le président de la République, montait en puissance. Mais qu'est-ce qui ne vous dit pas que peut-être le président de la République réservait le meilleur pour la fin? Bon, mais dommage que le football reste un sport. Nous, notre parcours pour la conquête du trophée final, ça a été estompé hier, mais nous avons encore un match. Et nous espérons que nous allons le gagner. Et je vais aussi vous dire, lorsque on dit, oh, c'est les ministres qui sont passés dans les vestiaires, c'est les ministres qui rencontrent les joueurs qui ont apporté des énergies, je ne sais pas, négatives, positives, je ne sais pas qui a le baromètre de mesure et comment il peut reconnaître les énergies négatives et positives.
Similarly, there is an issue with sound. Can you check that? I've persons have written from Mutengene and others are writing from Bamenda. Can you just check the sound issue? On social media there is sound, but I don't know why people are writing from Bamenda and parts of the southwest that they can't get the sound. Oui, allez-y.
Donc je ne sais pas comment les uns et les autres savent mesurer les énergies négatives et positives, et à partir même déjà de là, ça voudrait dire que il revient dans ce qu'il était en train de vouloir réfuter, que la prière et tout le reste ne doivent pas être parmi les éléments. Non. Donc ici, nous disons tout simplement que lorsque vous portez le maillot d'une nation, lorsque vous portez les couleurs d'un pays, tel que le Cameroun, et que vous n'avez pas le réconfort, mais vous ne recevez pas le soutien des membres du gouvernement, vous ne recevez pas le soutien et l'onction du président de la République, vous joueurs, vous êtes démotivés. Parce que vous avez l'impression qu'il n'y a pas de la reconnaissance, de la gratitude par rapport à ce que vous êtes en train de faire pour la nation.
Okay.
Et le président de la République a donc délégué le ministre des Sports et de l'Éducation physique pour pouvoir aller porter le message d'encouragement et dire à ses fils que allez de l'avant, vous avez tous nos encouragements. Et n'oublions pas une chose, nous tous, nous sommes des coachs, nous sommes 22 millions de coachs là, à la maison lorsqu'il s'agit de notre équipe. Et c'est toujours pour vous démontrer la ferveur patriotique et l'engagement que nous avons lorsque nos lions sont en train de jouer. Et tout le monde, y compris les membres du gouvernement et le président de la République, sont tous unis. Souvenez-vous du message du président de la République pour rejeter par là, qui disait que lorsque tous les Camerounais sont unis, rien ne peut les arrêter.
Okay, we are going to take a short break. We're coming right back. Welcome back. You're watching Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We are going to continue with our concluding this segment of discussing the elimination of the Lions. Can we say that from yesterday some lessons were learned, and what should be the spirit that should prevail in the Lions den as we look forward to playing the third place position?
The lessons, I think, number one lesson is that ministers should stop visiting the Lions Den. I disagree with Mr. Jean-Claude in that regard, that no, the ministers were going there to give encouragement and patriotism. Patriotism is not just an aspect of visiting. Patriotism simply means an aspect of prayer. You can stay in your home as a minister and you pray for the Lions. You can stay in your home as a supporter, you pray for the Lions. When football is concerned, it needs maximum concentration. We don't need negative energy or positive energy from different sources. Remember that when a team is in camping or doing camping, the team doesn't allow foreign visitors to come inside, because everybody has its own powers. You don't know where and how we all are coming from, Mr. Liu. And there is a tendency that an energy or a spiritual powers that I may have may come and contaminate the players, especially when it comes to the field. Now, I will be very clear with this. No circumstances, nowhere will you see a minister in the world who is not a minister of sport, a minister of spirituality, touching the head of players and blessing them ahead of the match. Nowhere except in Cameroon that we have seen that, and that's a issue that we have created. And to see Mr. Close saying that we should allow ministers to go there, to me, it doesn't make sense. The lesson that we've learned, number one, ministers should stop going to the Lions Den. Number two, stop using that the Lions as a political shield or as a political campaign ground for your political powers. Number three, stop using the Lions to show your families that you have access to the Lions, because that's what they are doing. You see every you see every delegate or DG who go to the Lions Den and take pictures and say, hey, j'étais avec les Lions. Hey, you see this one, j'étais avec les Lions. You see this one, j'étais avec les Lions. You see this one, j'étais avec les Lions. It gives you a kind of perspective that the concentration is not there. As long as the concentration is not there, the Lions cannot deliver, because it takes unity to agree. This person will come and tell you his own story. This man will come and tell you his own story. This man will come and tell you his own story. And when they come, there's that kind of division spirit. This is not politics, Mr. Zhang. Let's pick football and patriotism. We are not talking about dividing Cameroon here. We are not talking about bringing the head of state down. We are not talking about bringing the ministers down. We are talking about setting discipline into the Lions Den, so that you and I together, we can say, Allez les Lions, oh Cameroon. We can see the spirit, so that you and I can go back to the spirit of Jeremy Sorenjita, Kalankongo Raymond, Pierre Womeneng, Alumbuka, Jaka Biaka. Those are the spirit that we have for the Lions. That spirit that you never intervene into the Lions Den, where Ringobe Songbanai has a 4 position, where Kalankongo Raymond is there, Chatobi is there at the 2 the position. We have Pierre Womeneng at 3, Jeremy Sorenjita, we have Samuel Etofis, Patimboma, Loya Etame Maye. Then the church is closed as far as football is concerned, and that we have discipline. I don't